Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome back. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. We chose a very busy 2-week news cycle to take off. So Will and I had to kind of scramble and have a emergency session to discuss the Vacasa Casago stuff, but we'll certainly touch on that a little bit more today, amongst other topics that have been gracing us with the headlines over the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
I know. Brandy. I was like, isn't everybody going to chill out? And then it was like,
I know. We're like, oh, it's December 16th. We're done for the rest of the year. All GMH shows, EU to hotels to this one. And then literally probably maybe an hour, we were in our group chat sending stories and like, all right, well, here comes some big stories. And then it just kept going. And it's like, all right, we gotta jump on the Casago one. Brandy, actually, before we get to that, how was your guys' holiday time? I know for me, between us, and to be 100% transparent, I needed that break. Last year was tough. I needed some time off. I don't know how you guys felt about, taking some time to recover and to just, reflect and all the good holiday stuff. But I hope you guys got some good time for that.
Yeah, I was at a really quiet Christmas. I was the only one of my siblings that went to our parents' house. So it's just me and my parents and my grandma. And this year I've done a lot of watching the Great British Bake Off. So like a really crazy amount. So I started I'm going to bake a lot. And I had some successes and some major fails. Baking is I'm a great cook, not a great baker. So it was experiment time, but it was nice. It's like a quiet holiday is not too bad. It was relaxing.
I love it.
Quiet wouldn't be the word I would use to describe my house. 5-year-old around Christmas time. Elliot had a couple of ear infections, so just battling that. We're ready for school to start. Of course, they added one extra day today, but school will be back in tomorrow.
You're like, are you sure? Do you just want to take them now?
You really need that extra day after 2.5 weeks, but okay. But yeah, it was really good.
I'll take an extra day.
No, I'm ready to get to it. I get stir crazy when I'm not kind of in something for a while. I did a lot of cooking myself, Brandy. I shared a few on the group chat.
Yes, I saw.
But I do enjoy cooking, and I 2 successes over the holidays. I got Oliver interested in basketball, so now he enjoys watching basketball with me.
Let's go.
That's a big win. Anybody that knows me knows I like basketball. And we cooked a lot together, so he enjoys cooking and eating and it makes him very proud that he was part of it. So that's a cool thing to watch.
Start him young. That's how you got to do it.
Seriously. That's super cool. And I love the pictures of what were they? Cinnamon Toast Crunch cookies?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch marshmallow cookies.
There we go. Even better with marshmallows. Yeah. I love it. It was great. I was going to text you to send me a dozen. I'll Venmo you or something. Tell Oliver I got a special order for him.
We can get those out. It might freeze though over the next couple days.
Yeah, send some coffee with it too if you can. That'd be great. But yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool. Brandy, I'm curious. Oh, go ahead.
One other thing that Oliver and I did, we made coffee candles from Good Morning Hospitality. And
you
Good Morning
candles. So
cute. I know. Oliver made all different types. We've got
Well and Good Morning blend and
Well and Good Morning is one. That one was Christmas tree. So we had a great time.
That's so cool. I'm taking notes. What I'm going to do with my future kids: make candles and cinnamon toast crunch marshmallow cookies.
Fill the days somehow.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. Well, I got to spend some time at home in Washington, saw my brother and family and all that good stuff. So it's always fun to go back, but back in the good Colorado, beautiful states, and we're about to get dumped on with some snow. So pray for your boy who's about to be freezing and probably locked in the house for a couple days, going a little stir crazy. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But we have a lot of stuff to jump into today. So before we do that, I'm actually super excited to share and announce that we have brought on a new podcast partner for Good Morning Hospitality, specifically on Mondays. Right now, we're hanging out with Fido. So if you haven't heard about Fido, they make managing vacation rentals less demanding. Basically, Fido is here to help with trash removal, inspections, and other maintenance requests, because we all know hosting vacation rentals, especially as a small host who's growing their business, is already crazy and hectic as it is. Not an easy job. It's more than just heads in beds or listing something on Airbnb, as you know. And if you have more than one property, guess what? It's hard to remember trash days for all of them. So get with Fido. And if you do, just let them know that the Good Morning Hospitality team sent you. They'll give you a very special deal. And we're super excited to be working with Fido. They're awesome. And we are just excited. It's a really good service. I think, the guest satisfaction scores that come from the little things with lack of the trash bins being taken out and constantly full, and just all these lack of inspections because your cleaners are on the way to the next house. It just builds up. Well, Fido gets rid of that, and we're super excited to have them on the show. So thank you to Fido, and grab the link in the show notes. We are back. And Brandy, I want to know kind of your opinions and your thoughts on, one, the Casago news in general, and then two, the episode that Michael and I, and our thoughts that we shared in that quick 10-minute spur of
first, I mean, to Michael's prediction from last year, mergers and acquisitions ringing true again.
Did not predict that one.
But you did not predict this one. I think that, I mean, obviously we've been commenting on how much Vacasa has been struggling over, especially in the last year. And it kind of looked like it was going to be an industry loss and kind of like losing face as an industry. And so, I mean, for another industry player, and to be honest, I didn't really have Casago. I mean, I didn't really see this coming at all, but I didn't really have them front of mind for something like this. But I think it's a really amazing win, that somebody else in the industry is, taking a leap. It's really bold and can be hopefully a success story that we can share with the world, and not just like a struggling public company.
For sure. And it's kind of crazy because like Sonder got a lifeline. And as you said, I think we were all kind of expecting Vacasa not to. And in my honest opinion, I think this is their lifeline. So it obviously is going to work for them to recover. And hopefully now it's the journey with Casago that we have to follow, and super excited. But yeah, I totally agree. Sonder got their lifeline. Seems like Vacasa got theirs.
I kind of expected Vacasa to go the way of the opposite of how they grew, which is just sell off pieces of the parts. And I do think to some extent that's what Casago will do. The jury's still out. We'll find out when we interview Steve. But they are a franchise model, and it's more appealing to sell a franchise that already has 20, 50, 100 properties than it is to say, here's a franchise, go build it, go start adding homeowners. And so I love the approach. It makes more sense to sell it off that way than try and market it to, small operators in these, 70 different markets or something. I can't recall the exact number.
Yeah.
But I think that approach is something the industry hasn't seen before. We briefly touched on this when Will and I chatted, but Resort Quest was bought by Wyndham, was bought by Vacasa. The line of people doing the same thing, thinking there's going to be a different result, stops at Casago. And now we get to see a new approach. So excited to see what Steve and team can do, they're certainly pulling an all-star team together around them. But I do think this is the biggest and best chance of success. And they bought Vacasa for literally pennies on the dollar. Like
shocking,
absolutely
price tag.
on the dollar.
$5.01 per share.
Yeah. I also, when the bigger the operator, the harder it is to maintain quality. And I think we've talked about this before, but the franchise model kind of helps circumvent that, where you can, obviously it's a smaller operator and they're having their, all their eyes on it. But I mean, even though we've talked about the owner churn from Vacasa, but even still, it's a massive number of homes. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, the absorption of all of those, even in the meantime before they selling them off. I mean, I think it's really, it's going to be a really interesting process to see how they go through this. But I also think, if there were any questions as to who the, leading, traditional vacation rental property manager is, there aren't any anymore. They are now the big dogs. And, that means a lot of eyes are going to be on them, though. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah. Especially with us. I know that it's obviously our show does great numbers, and we're going to have Steve on and we're going to continue to have these conversations. So I'm sure a lot of our stuff is going to be pulled in the loop. So try not to get too ahead of the game there. But I love this because Vacasa, I think, struggled. And as we started to see that shift where they were going to centralize some stuff at the headquarters and then let the local operators take over and own their P&L, I think that was the best move. And they were starting to do that. I don't know how far down the line they got, but the part with Casago, as Brandy, you just stated, with the franchise model, is they're local. They're not just people that based in Arizona or Denver or Florida, that are managing properties all over the country, or 40,000 homes all over the country. No, they're local. They're in their city. They're in their state. They have the teams. They have the centralized help that they can get, but they actually have the boots on the ground, which I think is so crucial. Not saying that other property managers aren't local, but when you're this big, I think a lot of people, especially in the industry, get kind of concerned and maybe a little nervous when property management companies or management brands in general don't have any local kind of focus, and it's all big kind of glam, glitz glam type focus on look at us scale and grow and but there's really no one on the ground. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I think it's really going to help the quality piece, as you said, Brandy. When you get bigger, quality's harder, but with the local piece, I think that can help.
Yeah, and the local piece, to double click into that even further, I read that Vacasa's P&Ls were centralized and they weren't in local markets. And that creates all sorts of challenges for the local ops team, the local GMs. If you're performing really well, you have high customer satisfaction, you're adding properties, but you don't have any budget to do any marketing, you're kind of hamstrung with the rest of the company. And they cut costs as deeply and as far as they possibly could. And so the franchise model puts not only the P&L, but actual ownership in the local market. So it gets back to the roots of why so many people in our industry can succeed at a local level, is because they love the local markets. They're deeply ingrained there. They live there. They grew up vacationing there, probably ended up buying a house there, and then started building a company there. And we've heard that story so many times. But the ownership structure, the accountability structure, the P&L, all of that really matters at a local level. And then one other thing that I'll keep a close eye on, but I know Steve is really, really big into company culture. And when you go from managing 5,000 properties to 45,000 properties, it's going to be tough to keep the company culture that you built over the past 20 years. And so I really hope that they can find ways to ingrain the way the Casago has done it. And, scaling a company is hard. And this is overnight massive scale. So
for sure.
Yeah, I think also with that, for all of us that are watching as like spectators in this merger, this acquisition, like having patience or not be like, this is going to take a long time.
Yes.
And, and it's not like, oh, February 1st, everything's integrated, everything's going well. Like I think we have to kind of look at what are like the incremental ways they're succeeding or not succeeding, and not like, are they now one giant company? But Michael, to your point, I think the company culture part is going to be, it's hard. It's hard even when you add, you scale a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see.
So Steve Schwab, if you're listening, we're going to send you a bunch of coffee because we know you're going to need it. So get caffeinated, my friend. You're going to need as much help as you can get. We'll send some for your team too. So Katrina, just know I got some sent to Arizona. Here we come. But no, it's
Well and Good's office is right there down the street.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Well and Good, Jonathan, let's connect you guys. Let's get Well and Good and Costco already partners. So anyways, I think it's great. The other news kind of covered, actually, Leo Walton from our GMH Europe crew got a hot take, as he likes to call them, instead of interviews. I think he really loves to call them hot takes. So now we're going to call them GMH hot takes as we move forward through 2025. But Leo sat down with Marcus from Hostaway, which raised $365 million at a $925 million valuation, which is just shy of a billion-dollar unicorn status. So congratulations to them. But this is huge news. As we saw, there was I would say, short-term rental related side of things, not just overall hospitality, but funding wasn't flowing as heavy last year as it was the year before, the years prior. So this is really exciting to see such a huge raise, even though they just raised $175 million. Like, what? Less than a year ago, like sometime in 2024, I think, right? It was definitely a story we covered. So that was pretty quick. I would love to know your thoughts, Randy.
Yeah. First, can I have some of that? Like where this easy flow of money. I think like my first thought was just that this now, I mean, very obviously pits Guesty and Hostaway against each other, like both racing for that $1 billion valuation, raising a lot of money. So it'll just be interesting to see how they deploy all this money and what that really goes towards. And certainly there's a lot of excitement around it, but it's like there's all this excitement about raising that kind of money, but now you really have to see, okay, what are you going to do with that to put you in the first place position?
Yeah. I think as a customer, I'm not a customer of Hostaway, but I'm thinking, if I hear my property management software raise this much money or even be acquired by a bigger player or whatever it may be, I kind of expect significant product changes, right? Like, I'm like, all right, this thing better be beautiful and humming like a bee or whatever the phrase is. But, I would love to see what they put into, put this capital to use. I want to see what product changes. I want to see if they're going to innovate. I want to see if they're going to, I want to see deployment. But yeah, Randy,
and also in the same vein as the Vacasa Casago acquisition, it will take time. Yes, and I think that Romy is the Guesty client and they raised a bunch of money. And then I was like, okay, so tomorrow, what features are we going to see? But obviously there's like a roadmap and things take time. But I feel like some shopping is on their agenda for sure.
Yeah, you don't raise that much money. I mean, I guess you could. And now you've got 10 years of runway and you're set for a long, long time, right? Mm-hmm. Or you could go shopping, add either vertical or horizontal lines of business, and you have to assume they're going to go shopping. But the challenge is how many companies out there are left to be purchased at a reasonable price. There's
significant, so many, I think, on the PMS side, or actually within the whole within the whole tech ecosystem, yes, I will say 100%, because Wheelhouse and Operto and a couple other players, AJL, they all came up with a tech landscape report. I think there's tons of tech that Hostaway could, vertical or horizontal line of business add in, for sure.
You're not wrong, but you're missing the last part of my sentence: at a reasonable price.
Yes, at a reasonable price.
All of those companies have raised venture funding. Barely. So if they're not selling, if any of those companies you mentioned aren't selling for $100+ million, their VCs are going to say no. You have to keep going, unless it's a fire sale. So we could see two ends of the spectrum. The majority of them, though, that had raised VC funding are going to have to just keep chugging along, and they, unless something drastic happens, they won't be accepting offers that would be reasonable for a Hostaway or a Guesty or a Breezeway to purchase. And this was Greater Sun Ventures' whole strategy was roll, and they kind of beat everybody to the punch. Roll up everybody that hadn't raised VC funding into one umbrella corp, and then build that umbrella corp and go sell it to private equity. That still hasn't transpired. I don't believe. I know they just had a funding round, I think, with BlackRock, but I don't know if there's any liquidation involved in that. I think that was an additional investment into the company. So I could be wrong there. Somebody feel free to correct me if I am. But I do think it is a limited number of companies that can be acquired. So it could just be for acquisition of more and more talent that drive into a bigger, better, more robust system. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely be on the track for the year. Speaking of exciting news and things to track that we kind of tracked throughout last year and the year prior, but Michael, let's jump into the acquisition of Lifehouse.
Yeah, so Lifehouse was the industry darling in 2020, 2021, 2022. They raised $50 to $70 million, some very large amount. They were popping up properties. I've stayed in a number of them. They're fantastic. Always had a good experience as a guest. A number of them in Miami. They did a deal with Kayak, and they were going to kind of soft brand the Kayak name. They had one in Miami. They had one in Mexico. And then for whatever reason, that deal fell apart, and the wheels have kind of come off since then. And so in terms of their lines of business was tech, branding, and property management. And I think if you don't execute on the actual management side, then the other stuff doesn't really matter. And I think that's largely what happened. And so a company by the name of Lark, who's got a great boutique hotel footprint, primarily in the Northeast, the president and the CEO, both really great dudes, Peter and Rob. And they saw an opportunity to roll in a nice brand that's got a lot of management contracts, and I think they're well suited to come in and turn it around. So I'm really rooting for them to turn around Lifehouse. It was such a cool brand, and their design's great, and their concept is good. I mean, their concept was basically to leverage short-term rental mindset and put it in hotels. Headcount light, tech heavy, and to some extent it worked, but they fell short on the actual operations side. So kudos to Rob and Peter. Congrats to the Lark team. And similarly, when you acquire somebody that's got a pretty sizable footprint, it's going to be probably messy for a while. So good luck sorting through it, and I hope it pans out.
Yeah, there's one of Lifehouse's hotels in Little Havana, Terrazas. They have this great bar, rooftop bar. So, maybe for field research, I'll just pop over there and from time to time and see how things are going.
For sure. And I think, maybe some GMH quarterly meetings in Miami. We pop over to Miami, maybe a couple of Denver ones, and we'll try out
come to Miami.
Yeah. I actually could use a trip to Miami. I'm like, oh, it's so cold. But the sun is out, so I'm thankful. But yeah, no, it's really cool. I was just talking to one of the senior VPs at Curator Hotels for an episode on Slick Talk that's coming out this year, and it's actually a really exciting side of the industry that I didn't really like. I know boutique hotels, and I see a lot of our friends getting into boutique hotels, but the boutique landscape is really interesting when you look at the big brands and how they work with franchises or individual owners of different or even their own flagship. But the independents really do have such a big opportunity. And I do think like a Lark and Lifehouse acquisition, merger, joint venture, whatever you want to call it, is great because it's continuing to empower the local, not the local, but the independent, the small guy, like trying to create their own brand. And, there's nothing wrong with the big brands. There's nothing wrong with the Hilton or Marriott or Accor or whatever. But, you see them buy a lot of these boutiques, and sometimes the life of those independent hotels gets sucked right out. A lot of the culture, the local community, the turnover of staff, it just sometimes can lose its special touch. So I don't know. I kind of like this story, and I'm excited to watch the boutique hotel side more. And obviously our hotel crew will continue to cover stories like that and probably have some hot take exclusives coming out in this next year. So we'll see.
Yeah. When are we doing our predictions episode?
Next week, baby. Next week.
All right. I got to start putting some pen to paper. If any of our audience has any bold predictions you want us to consider for our show, please send them in.
Give us the ideas. Michael says, instead of mergers and acquisitions and mergers coming in for 2025.
Yep.
The most generic one you can find.
It's okay. Well, we're still waiting for Uber to buy something, so
it's okay. It's okay. I'm a patient man. I'm waiting for Uber.
Will's ahead of his time. He's a man ahead of his time.
I just predicted 2025 or 2026 in 2024. So you're welcome.
Yes.
Nostradamus over here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. Well, this is our episode, and we actually are under our 30-minute mark. And so I guess, Michael, Brandy, we've never done this before. We've never had an early wrap up, but do you guys want to continue to talk and maybe share some highlights from the year? Or
I've got one more comment.
Yeah,
I'm excited about Fido being a part of GMH for a couple reasons. It is a bad guest experience not being able to, or getting a message midweek on your vacation saying, "Hey, do you mind taking the trash to the street today?" While you're out at the beach, like, oh man, I got to run back to the house, take the trash to the street. So not a good experience. And then, in terms of what causes poor regulations in cities, I'd said this a million times when I was at Noise Aware, but it's noise, parking, and trash.
Yep.
And so there's solutions for noise. Now there's solutions for trash. Parking, who knows? But it is good that the industry is wrapping itself around solving the issues that matter most to local legislation.
100%.
Yeah, I was thinking about when we had mostly single family homes, and trash was like probably one of the most annoying things, because are all the homes on the same schedule, and even they're in the same neighborhood, like if they're one street over, maybe they're in a different like collection schedule. And so having somebody else handle that for you is amazing.
Yeah, there's a holiday, they move the date back a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just texting my dad because he was at their Florida vacation rental in Kissimmee, and I was like, "How are you guys doing trash out there?" Because we actually stopped working with them on our management company, so we kind of just gave them the home back and said, "Host it yourself." We're out of Florida, but I was like, "What are you doing for trash?" And he was like, "Well, we hired some kid." I was like, "Well, why didn't you just hire one of your granddaughters who lives like maybe 20 minutes away?" But he was like, "Yeah, it's not going great." And I was like, "Oh, great. Good to know." I was like, I didn't know what to get him for Christmas, so I got him like a bunch of random stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to get them a Fido subscription for the year. Just be like, "Hey, here you go. Just stop worrying about it and stop hiring these punk kids that show up stoned or don't show up at all." So, like, not that there's anything wrong with being stoned. Yeah, it's a good gift.
Yeah, it's a great gift.
Yeah, I'm going to text Justin. So Justin, get ready. My text is coming. I want to sign my parents up. So, I just know they miss it, and obviously the guest experience is bad, and that ruins their reviews. And obviously I got to protect that family income. So I'm like, all right, got to get that Florida property up and going. Just kidding, just joking. But no, it's really good. I'm excited for Fido, and I think it's a big partnership as we're going to see them continue to roll out more on GMH. So we had a big year last year. I don't know how many of the listeners truly follow GMH beyond the podcast. I know we have a ton of listeners, but we had a big accomplishments. I'm excited to continue next week. We're not only going to share some predictions, but I think we might even share some, maybe not next week. Sometime this month, we'll share some upcoming projects, initiatives, things that we're going to be launching at GMH, and more retreats and more coffee and more everything. So I'm pumped. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pumped.
I love this New Year energy, Will.
He doesn't need more coffee.
No, not at all. Sorry. I get excited. For the listeners, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Make sure you follow our GMH EU crew if you are in Europe or in the UK. And of course, if you're in the hotel sector and you want more hotel content and short-term rentals, join our hotel crew, Sarah Dandashy and Steve Turk, on Wednesdays. You can go to goodmorninghospitality.com to sign up for our newsletter. Get that every 2 weeks in your inbox to stay up to date with the latest and greatest industry news. And like always, we'll see you guys again next week.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Logify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.